Hi guys, my name is Jake. I'm from Springboard, Philippines, and I handle the marketing and the content in general for PartsPro along with Direct here, who's shooting the content. So Mazda Philippines actually lend us this CX-9 over the weekend, at least for me. Took it around with my wife and the kids, and I'm doing the non-technical all dad version of this review, right? So to me, this particular car is, like I said in my post and like I said in the PartsPro post, is kind of like the silver bullet, you know. Solid na solid siya in terms of how it looks, how it performs. The ride was very smooth, especially with the kids in the back. So I have two kids. One's name is Arkin and the other is Cassidy. So Arkin, I brought him when we first picked up the car. He was riding this car at the back on a car seat. So I was telling Boss Raffy and Direct right here, paglabas pa lang ng paglabas with regards to paglabas pa lang ng fixed stop, he was already asleep, right? So coming from a Forester, medyo alam natin yan, medyo matagtag to a certain extent. So it takes a while for him to get to sleep, but eventually the kids, like all kids naman, fall asleep in the car. But yung when Arkin rode the car for the first time, wala pang 5 minutes and he was knocked out. So that was awesome. The ride was very smooth. In terms of the ride in general, for someone like me who's not very technical, who's not very picky, this for me is like perfect talaga. So it's boundary Land Cruiser-ish type of suspension in terms of like in terms of the ride. So super happy with it. In terms of the steering, everything, again, very smooth, very light. It acts like a well, responsiveness wise, medyo may konting lag, as with all SUVs. I guess as Ao mentioned in his review also, or also in Raffy's, the closest comparison to this, I guess, would be the Ford Explorer, right? So going Land Cruiser, that's a little bit too high of a price point. That's too premium also. Going down to the likes of like the Fortuners, the Montera Sport, and among other SUVs like the Forester, medyo mas mababa naman siya. So this is somewhere along in the middle, no? So like I said, the best comparison would be the Ford Explorer. Okay, so in terms of the ride, no, in terms of the responsiveness, yun nga, as I mentioned, medyo may certain lag siya that we need to kind of address. I think, syempre, this is a PartsPro review. We're not just reviewing the cars per se, but we're also trying to recommend ano yung pwede nating idagdag to make it feel, to add that character into the ride that you want. So for me personally, I think what I would change is I won't go to the extent of like tuning it and everything. Siguro ang pinaka ano na dito would be to include DTE, a DTE pedal box, no? So once we include that, I think throttle response is gonna be a little bit better. Fuel economy is gonna be a little bit better. So solid dagdag yun, solid addition to the already premium feel of what the CX-9 has to offer. In terms of the interior, like I said, I'm very happy with it. This particular trim, super solid. In terms of the panel right here, very intuitive. So if you see on the screen right here, everything is very intuitive also onto the knobs, no? So once you go here, you click the home button, it goes back to home, right? So when you click the music, depends on what you set up, it goes to Spotify, right? So you go to the nav, you click the nav, it goes to automatically either the Google Maps or Waze, again, whichever you set to default. My only thing here though, this particular volume knob, what do you guys interpret? I guess you can let us know in the comment section what you think. I guess after the break, we'll come back and show you why it's confusing for me. Again, I mentioned that this was very intuitive and very open for me in terms of the front panel dash, no? The front panel section. The thing with here in terms of the volume button though, going up, there's an arrow going up and there's an arrow going down, right? Intuitively, usually when you turn the knob to the right, meaning clockwise, it usually, alam mo yun, lalakas yung volume, or it's gonna be giving you like louder results or whatever, depends on the or turning right. But in this particular case, volume up, intuitively, you would think na since naka-up siya, you would go counterclockwise para lumakas siya, diba? But the thing is, once you go up, counterclockwise siya. So it acts as a regular knob, similar to the air cons, kanyan, to the thermostats. When you turn it to the counterclockwise, ano siya? Humihina siya. So again, I guess for the first time, very confusing lang for me. But if you don't look at it intuitively naman, when you turn to the right, automatically palakas siya, right? So the natural motion. So that's one thing. Pero after that, may certain level of learning curve lang doon. Pero after that, okay na. Right? So very minor detail. One thing I'd like to point out is this particular sunroof, no? So sa Forester ko, you had to reach back and actually reach out for the knob or reach out for the handle like this for you to be able to reach it and actually like maneuver it, no? But for this one, it's very ang ano niya, again, everything similar to the panels, very intuitive. So the user experience with regards to the whole driver's experience, it's very thought of. Kumbaga, very kumbaga, the manufacturers that did this was very thoughtful of the overall driving experience. So and the interior feel talaga. So like I mentioned, like I said, I had my wife and a kid that time when we first got the car. So my wife immediately out of the gate, literally, she was saying, how much was this? Ganyan, yada. So we just give up our Forester and leave it on fixed stop. Iwan na natin doon, wag na natin kunin, and just take this home. Right? So, so price tag for this is very far off compared to the Forester, no? But as you see, the experience is very different. But I think it's really worth the amount, worth the price tag. If you want to have that premium feel as a dad, this is a good option for kid transport and for executive transport. So it's a mix of that, right? So you can, and the last seat, this is a 7-seater. So the last row, you can tumble it down, and massive space at the back, massive storage space at the back. So you can, I'm assuming you can have like probably 2-3 sets of like golf clubs there, on top of maybe 2 strollers pa. So ganon siya kalaki, right? So syempre, again, strollers are very relative how big your kid is. But overall, I think that would fit. So again, very generous storage space at the back. If you tumble up naman the last row, enough leg room for the people at the back seat, not compared to the others na medyo pag nandun sa last row talaga medyo siksik ka na talaga. And guys like me who are 6 feet, hindi ka nakakasya talaga sa likod unless you want to be sardined in, no? So that's one thing. Ito again, very generous when you tumble it up, but the problem is you sacrifice the storage space also, right? So very konti na lang yung matitira with regards to your storage space if you're using the last row. One thing I'd like to point out is a unique feature that Mazda integrated into the whole experience, no? Which is this particular car seat aircon, car seat AC. This is kind of a Raffy loves this, no? I'm assuming Direct would love this also. I'm assuming maybe Al would love this also. But for me, I don't know, this is a kind of a hit or miss for me. At times, it's good to have, especially in the Philippine weather na sobrang init. Nowadays it's raining, so medyo I don't usually use it for the time being that I took it around, no? So the first time I got this, I had this on. So 3 notches. It was very cold, no? So we were doing the shoot for this particular video when we first took it out. I was sweaty. So common sense naman yun na you don't really turn it on kapag pawis-pawis ka na. But again, with the weather here in the Philippines, and if you're really driving this and not the driver, ganyan, this is something na you might not use frequently unless it's a long drive, no? So unless it's a long drive, or unless you're very kumbaga balat kalabaw, kumbaga you'd like to use this. So one more thing, I guess being a dad and having your wife always on the passenger seat most of the time, Nux, good boy, no? Good boy. Wife majority of the time, 90% of the time. 10% it's my kid. Yeah, so again, going back, being a parent, having your wife in the passenger seat, tapos ang dami niyang sinostore dito. Minsan kulang na sa kanyang glove box, minsan kulang na sa kanyang side panel dun sa door. Again, it's very well thought of, no? With regards to how Mazda did this. So this particular feature, this I love. Kasi when my wife, when Antea actually like gets stuff, usually he would like call me and say, "Oy," tapos bubuksan niya, 'di ba? Pagbukas niya, isang buong bukas siya, eh, 'di ba? Kaya ako, I'd love to put my I'd love to use that as a handrest, usually when, again, obviously very traffic. So, itong feature na to, hati siya. So technically, the person beside you, the passenger, can access everything, well, majority of it, using one half of the storage opening, no? So pwede siyang bukas na totally bukas, right? Again, very generous with regards to the space, but again, very well thought of na pwedeng kalahati lang. So no compromise with regards to the experience. I still have my handrest there, and avoids you, I guess, the problems na baka potentially lumabas from this particular issue. Ayun. So one more thing I'd like to point out. Again, everything right here on the driver's experience talaga is very intuitive, very generous, very spacious. But with regards to the trims, I have one issue. Right? So this is my personal opinion, and I guess sa taste ko na rin. This particular feature, itong wooden panel na to, o wooden-like panel na to, same goes for the door panel right here and on the passenger seat. I kind of don't like this. No? So ako sana we just continue with the black. So I'm not sure if this is gonna be fading out and ganyan after a long period of time of use. Syempre tatama yung paa mo and you're gonna be holding it, especially again if you're a family guy, kids running around, there's gonna be a lot of stuff. You're gonna have like food everywhere on the cup holders and whatever. So with regards to being a family man and having kids around, baka this might fade sooner rather than later. So that's one thing. But syempre, if you take care of as with all things, if you take care of the car, if you take care of the interiors, both interiors and the exteriors, it's gonna help you with regards to trying to prolong everything inside. So I think with regards to that, James Car Care and the guys and John, shout out to John, they can take care of everything inside naman. Right? So with proper maintenance, you can try to prolong everything that's as you can see, meron pang mga plastic yan. So talagang alaga yan. So yun. One more thing I'd like to point out is, again, Mazda has been awesome with regards to providing talagang generous features. Walang sacrifice with regards to design in terms of the front dash. One thing I'd like to point out also is this part. No? As you can see, you have the door handle here running through the front dash where the aircon vents are. But if you try to open the door, right? So let me just try to open it. I'll unlock. This small feature actually got my attention talaga. Walang sacrifice. Even when it's not seen, they decided to continue it talaga. They decided to continue the feature right here. So that's one thing talaga that shows a lot about how Mazda does things. No? So that is attention to detail for me, guys. So that's awesome. In terms of the exteriors naman, in terms of the functional features of the car with regards to the lights, the headlights are, I think, using projector lamps. So when we were riding it out, I think on the weekend, we were grocery shopping. Talagang similar to everything here. Again, I'm gonna be using the word again. It's very generous. With regards to, it's very powerful. It can pierce through talaga the night with regards to, so you don't have to really edit anything with regards to the lamps. But again, it goes back to, okay, you can have the most powerful lamps out there, but if you don't maintain it properly, it's gonna be an issue, right? So once you, kunyari, nagpa-detail ka, or you had your car detailed out of the box, once you buy it, you might want to pay attention talaga to the headlights also. So the guys at James Car Care, the guys who know what they're doing, not just in James Car Care, even though kahit sa iba, basta if the guys know what they're doing, they'll be able to pay attention also to the lights and try to take care of them. So both the headlights and the tail lights. In terms of tail lights naman and the headlights, both similar to what Mazda is known for. It's very sleek, very stylish, less edgy compared to others, but that's Mazda's signature with regards to the overall design. You know? So as with everything inside. Again, having kids, I would assume you guys would have your own sets of car seats. I have 2 kids, I have 2 car seats. But in this particular case, Arkin is, kumbaga kahit papano, hindi na siya kasya eh, right? So, in certain times, he would want to sit in the car seat without all the paddings. And sometimes when my daughter would sit in the car seat, she's younger and she's smaller. In terms of installing whatever car seat, so I had 2 car seats and tried to install. As for the car seat, it's a similar experience to the Forester. It takes some time to get used to, but once you figure out where the latches are, how the right thing to do, how the right way to do it, the right way to attach it, it's gonna take you like less than 10 minutes or maybe like 10 minutes max, right? So yeah, so experience-wise, it's pretty much the same. There's 2 ISO fixes. You just have to slap them with a seatbelt, then you're good to go. Had 2 car seats installed, one at the back of the driver's seat, one at the back of the passenger seat. Obviously, the room in the middle is still, you can still fit 1 person comfortably, right? So that says a lot. So we did that in the Forester also. My sister, who used to ride in the middle when we were very packed like sardines talaga, she managed to fit. She was skinny, she managed to fit, but it was very uncomfortable already. One last thing I'd like to point out would be the sound system. So again, ulitin ko, at this particular price point, very sulit na talaga siya, and Mazda has been very no compromise talaga with regards to quality. So in terms of the sound system, you have your Bose installed and everything. So talagang very quality output talaga. So with regards to I think audiophiles, dads who love music, ako personally, I love jazz, stuff like that, so old soul. And obviously, I also have loved 90s hip-hop and mga ganyan. So, medyo umaasa pa na bumabata pa. So, yun. For the audiophiles dads out there and the family man, I think you'll appreciate what Mazda has put in with regards to the sound system. So, if you're listening to your playlist, your Sunday playlist, once you're going to your Sunday drives, or listening to whatever podcast And shout out to Procast by PartsPro. If you guys want to hear about cars in general, I think we're the first one here in the Philippines who's doing a podcast about cars and its history, Philippine culture with regards to, again, the automotive industry. So give that a listen. We'd appreciate it. So while you're at it, give us a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to our channel. That'll be awesome. So thank you in advance. So overall, final thoughts of the car. It's a clean, smooth crossover for a family man who's also a career guy. So I have 2 kids. Love my wife, and I have a career also that I usually go around. And on Sundays, on the weekends, I usually go to my parents' house or either go golfing with the PartsPro guys. So yun. Again, it's very, for the price point, it has that premium feel. I think it's the value for money with regards to the whole experience. Very generous, solid value for the price tag. So we'll put everything also in the description for you guys to be able to figure out all the specs that you need. We'll also link in all the Mazda social media pages for you guys to know more about the car, from another perspective. And Raffy's reviews coming out, Ao's reviews coming out. I think the Rec is also doing one review on different perspectives. Mine is just a dad perspective, nothing very technical, my own experience. I took this around less than a week. Got this, I think, last week, Monday or Tuesday. Had it, so drove it when weekday errands, got enrolling my kid, picking them up from school. I know it's all virtual, but I still had to do errands for the school for my kid. On the weekends naman, we didn't really take it for a long drive, but we went to my parents' house. So medyo malayo yun. It's in kind of in the north area, coming from Manila. So decent naman with regards to the travel, especially with the roads here in the Philippines. So I would rate it siguro out of 5. I would put it at a 4.7. Wala namang issues with regards to that. Siguro like few aesthetics, few add-ons lang with regards to the stuff that will make it a little bit more personal for me, a little bit more character. Would be siguro if Mazda has the option, if PartsPro has the option, you can call them up, send them an inquiry, and try to maybe change this wooden panel to something else. I'm not sure if they would recommend doing that, pero ako, again, this does not reflect of PartsPro or any partners with regards to opinions, but that's just me. They can change it. If there's an option to change it, I would recommend changing it, because yun nga, mag-fade siya. But if you want to keep this, I do recommend trying to prolong it using proper detailing materials, or if you don't want a headache, just outsource them or like have James Car Care do it for you. So that's one thing. Interior is very, very important. Having to maintain that quality feel, that premium feel. Siguro aside from the interior stuff, like I mentioned, the headlights are at a rate siguro like A already, A+. If you want to change it to something a little bit more brighter, or maybe change the color, again, you can go to PartsPro and ask them for options. For me, siguro the only thing that I would change in the exteriors will be the mags. So PartsPro has a lot of options, I guess. For me, that's the first thing I would change with regards to aesthetics, to make it a little bit more for me. But a lot of guys out there are very happy with Mazda's mags na, Mazda's rims out of the factory. So that's also a good option. I guess, or good way to maintain it, maintain the stock form. But ako, if you ask me, that's one thing I would change with regards to the exteriors lang. Everything in terms of functionalities, headlights, taillights, I'm very happy with it. Okay, so I think that about covers everything for me, from my perspective as a dad. Again, nothing very technical, so please don't sue me or whatever. Nothing very technical. This is just my own personal taste. Again, it does not reflect any of the viewpoints coming from Ao, coming from Raffy, coming from Direct, or PartsPro and the partners themselves. So this is all my own personal review of my overall experience. That's about it for me. Again, I wanna thank the guys at PartsPro. Thank you, Raffy. Thank you, Ao. Thank you, Direct, for taking care of all of this. I appreciate it. I loved it. We enjoyed it over the weekend. We enjoyed the ride. Again, very smooth. Thank you to PartsPro. Thank you to Mazda Philippines for giving us the opportunity to review the car and put our own spin to it. You know? So, other reviewers will just review the car. But sa amin, we would review it. We will be authentic. We will be honest about it. But yun nga, again, very appreciative of Mazda Philippines giving us the opportunity to review and add a little bit more character to it. Yeah, I want to thank you to my wife and I guess the kids also for having their own reviews to it. All right, that's about it for me. That's about it for the dad review. So thank you guys, appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully it's gonna be a Miata.